As for the Cold War, it never ended. What is happening now, many believe that this is an internal political struggle in the United States of America. But in fact, this is a very acute systemic crisis in relations between the United States of America and China, which will continue for a very long time. The reasons. First, it is a conflict of civilizations. Secondly, this is Thucydides' trap. Third, the Soviet theory about the main conflict of our time. The conflict of civilizations is obvious. China is the most ancient civilization, the most ancient of all existing on the planet Earth. The continuous written history is about 5,000 years old. During these 5,000 years, China has always been the most populous country on the planet. And except for the last 2 centuries, it was the largest economy on planet Earth. Back in the early 19th century, when the United States was just beginning to strengthen its economy, China was already producing a third of the world economy. The largest European economy at the time produced 5%. It was the Russian Empire. Therefore China understands its place in the world quite well. The United States is a young power, very aggressive, ambitious, dominating the modern world arena. But as a civilization, it is still very young. For China, the United States is not even a civilization. America, with all its complexes of exclusivity, will continue to pursue its global dominance. But China also has its exclusiveness complex. He has more reason for this in world history. The Chinese consider themselves to be the center of the universe. The Americans are perceived as one of those numerous barbarian tribes that have bothered China for many millennia. They either conquered them, then disappeared somewhere. But China thinks completely differently from the United States. If for the United States the limit of political thinking is the next electoral cycle, then in China it is most often decades or centuries. A completely different system of thinking. Of course, the basis is not communist ideology, although it also has its influence. This is a very powerful Confucian ethical layer that makes China immune to the influence of other ideologies. The conflict is now obvious, and here it is appropriate to recall the trap of Thucydides, which has been discussed many times lately. Graham Allison of Harvard coined the term. Although the idea is generally quite simple. It was spoken by Thucydides in the 5th century BC when he lived. He was a great Athenian commander and politician. He was a rival of Pericles, was expelled from the army for defeat, wrote in detail about the Peloponnesian War. He describes a situation in which Athens is developing well under Pericles. Of course, this is a challenge for Sparta. Sparta is doing everything to prevent this. Eventually, the rise of one power while the capabilities of another power diminish means an inevitable war. Graham Allison's conclusion is justified because the conflict between an emerging great power and a fading great power is obvious. In this case, the fading great power is the United States of America. The emerging great power is China. Whatever Pompeo says, over the past 40 years, the Chinese have raised the standard of living of the population 20 times. In the United States of America, the standard of living has not changed in 40 years. That is growth among the rich and falling living standards for the poor. China now continues to grow at a faster pace and already has a larger economy than the United States of America. The analogy of rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union is simply flawed and dangerous for the United States of America. Consider the Soviet theory of the main conflict of our time. The main conflict of our time is the conflict between the United States of America and China. The United States of America is at the top of the food chain and will continue to fight for its dominance. China is a major challenge to this global US dominance. Pompeo will be looking for those wishing to join the anti-Chinese alliance. This will be a very daunting task because China is the #1 trading partner for the vast majority of countries in the world. China is the world's largest manufacturing economy. China is the main driving force behind the global economy, together with India. And in these conditions, for the Americans to openly challenge China is a very serious danger.